Primitive Life, a novel by Louise Richardson. Chapter 11, A Better Life, Part 2. Gray Mama. Noble led the happy, showering waterfall band of walking chimps through some lean years into relative prosperity in the great Rift Valley of ancient Africa. Gray Mama grew older and grayer over the leaner and fatter years that followed. She lived long enough to see her son Drummer ascend to the vaulted office of alpha male. She was so proud of him, proud that he was so kind to the elders, the very young, the lame, and the infirmed. He was even kind to strangers, and never one to take the troop to war. So powerful were his memories of the dull and creepy administration in his youth. Gray Mama never knew who Drummer's father was, and the father of his late brother Clymer, if indeed they had had the same father. Such was the way of the walking chimps. She suspected it was Randy, the Randy former alpha male, but she couldn't be certain. It was likely because Randy's physical and behavioral traits showed up in a large number of the troop's offspring, and Gray Mama had mated with Randy as much as any other female of the walking chimps. That was all in the past now. Those promiscuous days were far behind her. Once, while hunting and gathering to the far west of their territory, some of the walking chimps chased the roar of a terrifying big cat and came upon an elder chimp, a stranger who was battered and bitten and cut and obviously near death. The giant cat beat a hasty retreat. Drummer dabbed soothing mud on the codger's wounds. His followers did the same, and they bore the elder back to their waterfall camp, entrusting him to the care of the elder females. Straight away, Gray Mama took charge of the situation, offering the old fellow berries and roots. She would bring him water from the waterfall in her cupped hands, the other females following suit. He seemed to respond well to their kindnesses, and was sitting up and regaining his health within a few days. Times were good for the troop, and Gray Mama had no problem sharing whatever food she had with him. He really took to the monkey and antelope meat she offered him. There was something familiar about the old guy, which Gray Mama pondered, until the day she thought him healthy enough to help him to his feet. The elder was shaky at first, but stood for a few seconds before he dropped down to his left knuckle and knuckle walked around in circles to steady his walking muscles. Her eyes met his, and it dawned on Gray Mama just who this old gentleman was. It was her old suitor Groomer from the tribe of knuckle walkers with whom she had spent her formative years. Ironically, she was not his tall one any longer. In fact, in her decline, she had practically become a knuckle walker herself, though she could still outstand even the youngest common chimpanzee, to be sure. Groomer had definitely seen better days. From his wounds, Gray Mama knew he had been seconds away from being a cat's dinner when Drummer and friends discovered him. Groomer's troop had left him for dead. They could do nothing else against an apex predator. Oh, they might have thrown rocks and sticks, but their aim would not have been true in the sense that the aim of a walking chimp's aim was true, and they would not have shared the Australopithecine level of cooperative protection, which was the best of all the large primates. As a matter of fact, no other creature could touch the walking chimps in the security department. except, of course, the meerkats, from whom drummer Gray Mama's son, the alpha male, learned a great deal. Sex did not seem to matter to either groomer or Gray Mama, and for what they remembered, it had never been great between them anyway. Still, there was familiarity and companionship, and groomer lived out his last year or two in Gray Mama's company as an honorary member of the Society of Walking Chimps. Leah Pollock Schmidt read the flyer again. It boldly proclaimed, "She came from afar, Rita and her Pleistocene World," and "Special Alumni Preview Homecoming Weekend." Leah wasn't sure she wanted to see the exhibit, a bunch of old bones or fossils of old bones. Yet she did have a seed of curiosity. It had been declared by scientists all over the world as the greatest hominid find since Lucy. Well, it was the most complete anyway. Central Texas State University was fortunate to be the first school to display the remains. Biological Sciences Department Chairman Wally Parkinson was responsible for that particular coup. He had led the team of paleontologists who made the initial discovery and named the fossils, determined to be the remains of an elderly female, after the concurrent hurricane that hit Galveston, Texas, soon after Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans. Habsburg would be the smallest town to host the exhibit on a countrywide tour of universities and natural history museums. Still, the exhibit was not Leah's cup of tea, and yet she could not miss such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Her mother had lobbied her to see the thing, as she herself had seen the King Tut exhibit a generation earlier. It was history, or prehistory at the very least. Also, it gave Leah a reason to swing by Round Rock and see her folks. She was kind of curious about the old school anyway. It would be the first time she would return to her alma mater since she graduated, and she couldn't wait another 3 years for her 10th class reunion. Leah, I'm going to regret this trip, I know. But I know I'm going to get a kick out of it too. Well, I have a few months to make plans. Otto doesn't care a thing about it, but he's a good sport. His mom will be thrilled to keep the kids, especially now that Precious is walking. She's so cute. And Junior is out of the terrible twos at last. It will be our first chance, Otto's and mine, to get away in years. That he's looking forward to. We're going with my folks and Sarah. That could be a miss. Oh, we'll all survive the weekend. Can't believe Sarah is about to graduate high school. She'll be going to Syntex State next fall. So this trip will be sort of orientation for her. Damn, the brat is growing up. Otto. I don't know why I can't wait to see this thing. It's like 4 million years old. Man, this is the thing of the century. And it's not yet 10 years old, the century that is. Leah's mostly interested in the homecoming. Maybe she'll have friends there. I know she'll want to go back for her 10th in 2012, but this is our chance to step out without the tykes. Mom will love having them. I wonder if Tommy's Surf and Turf is still there. I'll make reservations and give Leah a treat. Leah. I hope Otto doesn't want to eat at Tommy's Surf and Turf. The place is the worst. But that's where we had our first date. So I'll go along with the idea if that's where he wants to go. Why am I even worried about this stuff so many months away? It's going to be great. Gray Mama. In Africa's ancient Great Rift Valley, the rainy season finally came, as it always did, though it had always seemed it would not come, and the tribe of the showering waterfall had survived another year. In fact, they were thriving under the leadership of Drummer the Good. Gray Mama, almost 50 now, was getting to be a little frail, but she was still what you might call spry. The rains had been light but steady, though it was just a matter of days before the monsoons would wash through the gullies and down the streams. The time she had spent with Groomer was precious to her. He had mellowed with age and seemed to have forgotten the crudities of his youth. They had walked, or she had walked, and he knuckle-walked, down by the creek bed every day at sunset, Groomer and Gray Mama, and now that he was gone, she missed those few years they had had together, so she took her twilight stroll alone now. Content with the world she and her family had made for themselves and for the walking chimps. The rains were not harsh, not yet, but they were deceptively gentle, and after more than a week the ground became saturated. Drummer did not worry about his mother because she had always been so strong, and even now that she was older than any walking chimp had ever been, she was quite independent and capable of getting around on her own. Perhaps Drummer thought she would live forever, if a pre-human was capable of such a concept as forever. It was getting dark, so Gray Mama forded the stream, taking stepping stones when she could, wading up to her ankles and sometimes to her knuckles when she dropped down to one side. When she had no choice, it was time to head up the embankment to the safety of the waterfall cave, which was relatively high and dry for the night. When she was just on the other side, a small mudslide rolled and flowed over her right foot. Gray Mama heard a sound she could not describe, even if she had developed the power of speech. It was a rumbling she could not locate. She turned her head toward it, and the whole embankment rushed down over her. She gasped and breathed the mud into her nose and mouth, and then she disappeared from the face of the earth for 4 million years. That night, Drummer, missing his mother, who was always home at sundown, searched for her as well as he could, but the sky was cloudy and there was no moonlight. The whole troop walked all over the compound the next morning, even down by the creek bed, not knowing they were stepping on Gray Mama's grave, just a couple of forearms lengths beneath their feet. Drummer sensed she was gone. He felt a loss he could not have explained again, even if he had the verbal capacity. The tribe of the showering waterfall was very quiet for days, and then they went on with the business of prehistoric life. End of Chapter 11, A Better Life. Primitive Life, a novel by Louise Richardson.